in Lynn, there's a lot of ways to get in trouble. I mean, there was all kinds of trouble in that small town you could find yourself in, or out in the country, and idle hands are devil's playground, and
Isn't that the truth?
and you could get in trouble pretty quick. So we found our ways to get in some trouble. Me and my buddies did, and at 18 years old, I got out of there and haven't been back since my mom moved away a few years ago.
Really?
She moved here. We got her here, so I don't have really a reason to go back home much anymore. But when I do, it definitely feels like home.
Yeah. Do you have any friends that still live there?
Yeah, absolutely.
Really?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. Got some really good friends still there.
That's awesome. That's very good. Yeah, I've got a few old high school friends myself. It's a group of about 5 of us that somehow none of us fit together in any way, shape, or form, but we all, we grew up together, for those are very formative years. Create bonds there.
It's amazing how many high school friends you don't have when you're, our age.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I only graduated with 56 kids anyway, so there's not a
lot to choose from.
Not a lot of people in town, but my close friends, we still chat and still talk and encourage each other when we can.
Yeah, it's important.
It is, but you just don't have the friendships.
Mm-hmm.
You build more friendships like this, right?
Yeah.
When you get older.
People who are, because a lot of times your buddies that you grow up with at that age, everybody kind of heads in a different direction. It makes it hard to stay close. But when you do, it's like, there was probably 8 of us that hung out every weekend in high school. We thought we were chasing girls and trying to get out into the world and just do fun things. And realistically, what that always turned into was playing Call of Duty back at one of our friends' houses. We definitely got into a lot of trouble and did shenanigans, around Carmel and Westfield when they were building.
Yeah.
All those neighborhoods were being built up at that point.
Oh man.
Instead of cow tipping, we did porto tipping.
Oh, you guys saw this whole area just blow up.
Yeah. It was. I mean, I remember one night, a friend of mine. I won't name their names. Hopefully, they're listening to this one, but I won't call them out here. But one of my friends, we were in his crappy Ford Taurus, and they were both a little high on something called Spice back in the day, and I actually did not partake in that at that time. I did try it one time, but it wasn't for me. But this time in particular, I was the sober one, but for some reason my friend was driving, and so we're driving around, coming up a road, and I'm not going to name roads either, because who knows if the cop gets a hold of this and then comes after me 20 years later or 15 years later. But we're driving up this road, coming around a curve, just left my neighborhood. My other buddy, he's like, I'm not taking any part of this, so he was driving home right behind us, and we got water balloons in the car. All right, we're just going to go chuck water balloons at cars. And one of my friends is in the back seat cracking up. He's high as a kite. My other friend's in the front. He's like, all right, if I see a cop, I'll just tell you, pull your head, like, don't throw it, And so we're coming around this curve, and the first car we see on this jaunt, I'm 2 minutes away from my house at this point, and the first car we see, cop, don't throw it.
Oh my gosh!
I pull my hand in, my buddy just launches it. So my other friend luckily was behind us because it stopped him from turning around as quickly, and we hightail it. But at that point, we're at we're down in Indianapolis. We ran away up to 146th Street where there wasn't anything other than they had just built that but what do they call it, a parkway, on 146th Street. Oh man,
there's so many ways to get in trouble as a kid.
Yeah.
And that was one of those ways. We did the same thing back home. I could go on and on about
I'm sure
stories out in the country with toilet paper in and throwing eggs at eggs at cars, and we did a lot of things that we shouldn't have done. Like, I could not imagine my kids doing today.
What was the best prank or just shenanigan you ever did?
Oh my gosh!
Like, if you could pick one story, what would that be?
Well, I'm going to pick a story that I love more than any of my own. It's my dad and my uncle. They pulled the shenanigan on some of my friends. And so back home, you just you'd go buy a case of toilet paper in, October from Aldi's or whatever,
Sure.
cheapest toilet paper you could get, and you would go toilet paper in your friend's house, or enemy's house. I mean, just
Or both. Yeah.
or both. I don't know why we toilet papered our friend's house or like bashed mailboxes and things like that. But I lived in a woods, like a 10-acre woods, long driveway.
Okay.
Nobody could see us.
Oh, that's awesome.
And so there's a lot of trees for people to toilet paper.
Yeah.
Well, every year we would get it several times a year. And so my uncle and my dad, they're best friends and brothers, he came down from Fort Wayne
Okay.
on some night. And Dad's like, I think, Nate's friends are probably going to come and toilet paper us tonight. Why don't we just go wait on them out the end of the driveway? So they took lawn chairs and black spray paint, and they went right across the road from my house, made a little clearing in the cornfield, and put their chairs down, and they just waited. They just waited for somebody to come by. Well, sure enough, there comes Danny Ward and his, friends and brother, and the 4 or 5 people were together.
Yeah.
And they come in, they shut their truck off, they're laughing, and they go toilet paper my driveway or my whole wooded area. My uncle and dad get out there, they spray paint their headlights black, let the air out of their tires, and go back in the cornfield, and they sit there and just watch. And they get back in, they're all excited, and they get in their truck, they toilet papered our woods, and they take off, and it's like boom, 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 boom. He turns his lights on, you can't see.
Oh, man.
Because they're black.
Yeah.
And so Dad and Uncle Jim walk back to the house and put everything away, get in their car, and drive down. And Danny's out there scraping the headlights with a razor blade. And Dad drives by and goes, "Hey, boys, you need any help?"
Oh, man.
And no, we're good. And takes off. And so Danny tells me on Monday at school, he's like, "Tell your dad not to make it so obvious next time." I mean, those guys had so much fun, playing around with kids and doing things. I mean, that was probably one of the best they could ever came up with. It was amazing.
That's incredible. It's like you just marked it.
We did things that were more dangerous and mean. So,
okay. Yeah. You're not proud of those?
No, I'm not proud of those. They're not proud of a lot of those things.
Yeah.
But, there were some dangerous things that we did.
One of the best ones, it got the biggest rise out of this friend, was we went and took something like 20, 30 of those big traffic orange barrels from I don't remember where. There was a parking lot somewhere that had they were storing them, like when they were redoing 465 or something. So we went and borrowed, like 20 or 30 of these things, and we lined them up all down this dude's driveway. And they get home, and they threw the biggest fit. I'm like, it wasn't destructive. And they're like, "You're going to get us thrown in jail for stealing these traffic barrels." It was great. We put them on top of their cars. We put them all down their driveway, blocked off their driveway, too, so they had to get out and move them.
Did you end up taking them back, or did they do it?
We ended up taking them back. Yeah, we ended up pulling them out of there because they didn't have a truck to do that with. And they were furious. It was it's funny now because they're good friends, and we made up after that, but it was just, it was a good time.
There was a Walmart or a Kroger grocery cart that ended up in my driveway one time. I don't know how it ever got there out in the country. It was probably one of these toilet papering nights, you know. But we brought it into the garage, and my mom and dad had a handicap ramp eventually in their back of their house. Mm-hmm. And my mom would use that, unload her groceries, push it up to the house.
So was that still at your mom's house when you moved her over here?
Absolutely.
Oh, that's
that
great.
Grocery cart was there for, 25 years maybe, 25 years. That mom would keep in the garage. She'd pull up and just take her groceries right in one trip.
That is awesome.
Next time she come back down the car, she'd take it right back in the garage. So it worked.
Yeah, hey, that's great. That ended up not being the prank. That was a helpful thing for her.
But only in the country could you do that.
Oh,
because
for sure.
Could you imagine if you did that here in town now? Who are these? Who are these rednecks?
These hicks. Yeah.
They stole a grocery cart and
They're using it to load their groceries up. Oh man, that's good.